What kind of billionaire bets his future on a total stranger? And what kind of woman walks through the door and turns his entire empire upside down? When Richard Walker, Wall Street icon, real estate magnate, and heir to a billion-dollar legacy, joked that he'd marry the next woman who walked through the door, he didn't expect her to be homeless. He didn't expect his past, his career, and his carefully guarded heart to unravel in front of her. What started as a dare turned into a scandal. But stay until the end, because what she does next will shake the very ground beneath him. And everyone watching. The Grand Oak Bistro sparkled beneath the Chicago skyline, its golden lights glinting in the glass like stars caught in a prism. Inside, laughter floated across polished marble, wine glasses chimed in celebration, and billion-dollar deals were whispered behind closed lips. In a quiet corner, Richard Walker sat staring out at Lake Michigan. At 45, he was more than a billionaire. He was a legend. Ruthless, brilliant, untouchable. The tabloids called him the Ice King of Wall Street. But that night, the ice was cracking. "You've got that look again," said Daniel Hayes, his longtime attorney and closest friend. "Business is fine," Richard muttered. "It's the legacy that's falling apart." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "Still hung up on the heir thing?" Richard's jaw tightened. "My father passed this empire to me, his father to him, and now I have no one to pass it to." "You have Emily," Daniel reminded gently. "Your daughter is sharp. She could—" "It's not the same," Richard cut in. His voice sharpened, too loud. Heads turned. He lowered it quickly. "I love Emily, but the board, my father's will. They expect a male heir, a son." Daniel shook his head. "It's 2025, Richard. That thinking is outdated, cruel. Tell that to my father's lawyers." Silence hung between them. The guilt of a failed marriage, the emptiness legacy couldn't fill. And Richard's eyes lit with sudden clarity. "I'm done waiting for fate," he said, pushing aside his wine glass. "Let's make it interesting." Daniel narrowed his eyes. "What are you talking about?" "A bet. The next woman who walks through that door, I'll marry her." Daniel nearly choked on his drink. "Are you out of your mind?" "Probably," Richard said, smiling darkly. "But logic hasn't worked. Maybe unpredictability will." And then the door opened. Every head turned. And time stopped. She didn't belong. Everyone knew it. She wasn't a socialite or a power executive. She had tangled dark hair, dirt-streaked jeans, a backpack held tightly to her chest, and eyes wide with fear. Grace Miller had no idea that walking into that restaurant would change her life forever. Security moved in. A waitress approached. But before anyone could act, Richard stood. "I invited her." Even Daniel stared in disbelief. Richard walked to her like she was royalty. "Good evening. I'm Richard Walker. Would you care to join me for dinner?" She blinked at him, stunned. My name is Grace." "Grace," he said, as if savoring the name. "Beautiful." She hesitated. But then, slowly, she placed her calloused hand into his. Across the city, in a modest Lakeview apartment, Lauren, Walker Richard's ex-wife, read the headline on her phone. "Billionaire causes stir with homeless woman at Grand Oak Bistro." She set her coffee down, blinking. "Oh, Richard... What have you done now?" At Richard's penthouse, Grace sat stiffly on a leather sofa surrounded by priceless art. "Why am I here?" she asked. "What do you want from me?" He looked directly at her. "You." She stood up, flustered. "What kind of twisted game is this?" "It's not a game. I made a vow. And then you walked through that door. You don't even know me." "Maybe I'd like to." Something in his voice stopped her. Not arrogance, not pity. Just loneliness. She didn't trust it. But she didn't run either. Meanwhile, Lauren picked up the phone and called someone she hadn't in months. "Daniel," she said. "What's going on?" He sighed. "He's serious. He's marrying her." Lauren's breath caught. Grace didn't sleep that night. She sat in bed, staring out the towering windows. Just 48 hours earlier, she'd been sleeping on a park bench in the morning. She found herself in Richard's kitchen, sipping coffee as he entered. "Did you sleep?" he asked softly. Double quotes, "No." "Why are you really doing this?" "I made a vow," he repeated. "But then you walked in, and suddenly it wasn't just about that anymore. You don't even know who I am. That's why I want to take time. No pressure. Let's get to know each other. No fairy tale. Just possibility." She hesitated. "Fine, but I need my own place. I'm not living in this tower." Richard smiled. "Done." The week that followed was surreal. He moved her into a small, comfortable apartment near Millennium Park. No glamour. Just safety. Dignity. Grace kept her guard up. She walked the city in quiet solitude. She didn't ask for gifts. She didn't play Cinderella. And yet the headlines raged. Billionaire's mystery woman. Gold digger or genuine? Lauren saw every one of them. And eventually she picked up the phone again. "Daniel, I need to meet her." Grace was in a cafe when Lauren approached. Sharp blazer, steady eyes. "You're Lauren," Grace said, "and you're the woman my ex-husband met on a dare and offered his empire to. You're here to warn me." "No, I'm here to understand. Because if this is real, then you need to know what you're walking into." They sat for an hour. Lauren didn't try to tear Richard down. She told stories of ambition, of legacy, and how chasing both destroyed everything. When she stood, she said, "I don't hate you. I don't blame you. But my daughter is watching. So I need to know you're not just a passing storm." Grace's hands trembled. That night, she knocked on Richard's office door. "She came to see me," she said softly. "Your ex-wife." He froze. "She's not angry, Richard. She's heartbroken." "This is bigger than you and me," she added. "I don't know if I belong in this glass world." "You don't have to pretend," Richard whispered. "Just be you." Outside, Lauren stood silently, watching. But she wasn't the only one. Across the city, an old man laid down a newspaper and picked up the phone. "Activate the contingency plan," he said. "Let's shake the foundation of his perfect little fairy tale." The call came just after midnight. Daniel's voice was sharp. "It's a coup, Richard. They're accusing you of using company funds to support Grace." Headlines exploded. From park bench to penthouse, the fall of Richard Walker. In a cafe, Grace read them all. When Lauren appeared again, she whispered, "I didn't do anything wrong." "I know, but the world doesn't care. So why are you here?" "Because Richard's never fought for anyone like this before. And I think he needs you now more than ever." The next day, at an emergency board meeting, Richard stood alone. Until the doors burst open. Grace entered, shoulders squared. "I know I wasn't invited," she said, "but I need to speak." The room froze. "I don't want his money. I didn't ask for this. But I didn't run from it either." She looked around the room, unflinching. "I'm not a fairy tale. I've slept on sidewalks. I've been invisible. And I would rather go back to that life than stand here and let you punish a man for loving someone who didn't come from your world." There was silence. Then the oldest board member asked, "If you're not after wealth or fame, why are you still here?" Grace turned to Richard. "Because I love him. And because, for the first time, someone believed I was enough." The board allowed Richard to stay on the condition that he step back. He named Emily as co-director. 3 months later, Grace wore a simple white dress in Lincoln Park. No press. No PR. Just vows. Lauren stood beside Emily, who held the rings. I do, Grace whispered, laughing at the miracle of it all. They didn't go back to the penthouse. They moved into a modest brownstone in Wicker Park. Richard taught part-time at a local college. Grace returned to the women's shelter. Together, they started the Grace Initiative, helping women like her find not just shelter, but dignity. One day, Lauren sent an envelope. Inside was a handwritten note. You didn't just save Richard. You saved all of us. Thank you. Lauren, now it's your turn. What did this story mean to you? Do you believe in second chances like Grace and Richard's? Comment 100 below if you believe love is still worth fighting for, even when the world says it's impossible. Tell us which country you're watching from. And remember, it's not where you come from that defines you. It's where you dare to go.